Welcome to Cohen episode 10. My name is Valur Grettisson. I am an editor-in-chief at Reykjavík Grapevine. With me today is Hannah Jane Cohen, the queen of couches, or what?
Yeah, I got it. We've been working from home, and I've usually been on the couch with like my duvet cover and my pajamas. It's been probably the best 3 days of my life.
Yeah, it's a nice way to work in Iceland.
Oh, I'm never going back to an office.
No, yeah. As you can see, we are like I'm of course not in Iceland. At some beach in the Caribbean, I guess. It's very nice. I refuse to have this background anymore with a virus lurking on like coming
Yeah,
coming
it's
to you
quite
behind.
eerie.
Yeah, right. And always like it's always about to mutate into you or something. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, what we are going to talk
What
about today is
you didn't say welcome to COVID cast.
oh, okay. Welcome to COVIDcast.
Friday, March 27th.
Yeah.
So it's the second week. Yeah.
It's day 10 in COVIDcast. It's day kind of like what, 17 or something? No.
Yeah.
How long have we been dealing with this now? For 27 days, I guess.
27 days probably.
Yeah.
It's getting pretty crazy.
What we're going to go over today is the numbers, of course, how we are standing when it comes to transmits. The spreading is slower than in other EU countries. That was the biggest news yesterday.
Yes.
And we found some pins, like swiping pins.
What you use to, like, they stick up your nose to test.
For the tests.
Swabs.
The swabs, exactly. And we have been, this has been like a constant problem for a lot of countries, but it's an incredible story, and we somehow just found like thousands of them.
It was like literally in a basement.
Yeah, literally in a basement. Also, Blue Lagoon. They're not in, like, of course, everybody knows the Blue Lagoon, and they're not in trouble, but they have still like laid off over 100 people. We'll explain that also later on in the podcast or the COVID cast.
Oh, do you want me to start with the first topic?
Yes. Well,
I'm ready.
Let's go over the numbers first.
Oh yeah. What's the current numbers?
Yeah, we have 890 people that have that got COVID-19. We're up by 88 person in 24 hours, which is more than yesterday. Then we had like 65 cases yesterday. Of those, we have 806, which is quarantining, and 17 are at hospital. Also, there are 6 in respirators at Landspítali.
Respirators.
Yeah, which means that there are 3 more than yesterday. It means that we were getting serious cases now. Of course, there are still only 2 that have died from the virus. We have 10,000 people quarantining in like all people in Iceland that are quarantining in one way or another. There are 10,000, and 3,200 have finished quarantining, which is pretty good.
Wow.
Also, we have taken 13,600 samples. That is like 4% of the Icelandic nation, which is pretty impressive. Yeah, it's a lot. So perhaps to the first news, it's like
yes,
it's good news.
It's good news. So the COVID-19 virus is spreading slower in Iceland than in most other countries in the Schengen region. This is despite the fact that there are proportionally more tests conducted here than in most other places. So only the Faroe Islands have more samples proportionally than Iceland. Of course, like anything per capita in Iceland must be taken with a grain of salt because there are so few people here. Same with the Faroe Islands. There are very few people there, but it's spreading slower. So basically what this means is that the gathering ban and the widespread application of quarantine and isolation are working. Basically in the beginning, there's the exponential growth graph of like, you infect 5 people, they infect 5 people, blah, 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 blah. But that sort of, it has lowered the curve, you'd say, into a much more slow moving,
and this shows,
which is very good.
This also shows that what they are doing, the health officials in Iceland, they're on the right path. They are pretty sure that they are doing the right thing.
Yes.
And we are slowing this down. But of course, it doesn't feel like it, actually. I mean,
no, it feels like things are getting worse and worse.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, and they're heading for the darker version of the timeline here. It's like they think that the people with COVID will be around 1,200 to 1,500 people.
Yeah.
I think it could even go higher.
I think so too.
It obviously changes from day to day, and it's really hard to do the math here.
And also, I think, like, for reference, for people who don't live here, it's basically a ghost town right now. So it's very eerie. So things probably feel a lot worse than they are, because you'll go outside, you can walk down downtown Reykjavik and see no one.
It's absolutely incredible. So it's
creepy. So yeah, that it probably feels perhaps a lot worse than it really is, but we'll see, you know.
And then we have, of course, all of the business in Iceland are slowly stopping. A lot of people have been laid off, but it's a part of the government help, actually. So you're laid off, but you get paid, like, if you're with salaries over 400,000 krona, you get like 82% of the salaries, and the government pays like a part of that. But if you're under 400,000 in payment, then the salaries, then you get your whole salaries, which is pretty good. So the lower income get like all the money. But Blue Lagoon is one of these companies. Everybody knows Blue Lagoon. Everybody's been to Iceland, been to Blue Lagoon, and it actually costs like 400,000 to go in there. No, I'm joking, but it's really expensive. Almost. But they have laid off 164 workers, as the company deals with economic fallout of the COVID-19 outbreak in Iceland. This is more. So that's like,
It's 20% of their staff. For reference, that's 20% of their staff.
Yeah, these firings come following the recent decision to close the Blue Lagoon until at least April the 13th. 30th, sorry. So it means that they will, of course, open again. They're not like broke or anything like that. It's a very like big and very dynamic company, which is it's just the same things that other companies are doing. The Blue Lagoon used to employ around 764 people in its resorts, restaurants, and shops, but over 20% of the staff have now been fired. So 400 of the company's remaining staff will go from full-time to part-time in order to allow them to claim reduced work payouts from the government.
Yeah.
The unemployment insurance fund will pay up to 75% of the wages, but workers will still be faced with a considerable drop in income. So yeah, and just like this is interesting actually. The Blue Lagoon is one of the Iceland's most popular attractions and has enjoyed healthy profits in recent years. And Kjarnin, which is an Icelandic business news website, reports the company's profit in 2018 was 3.7 billion Icelandic krona. That's like 26 million euros. So yeah, they're not in. It's a tough time, but they have the money basically. And then of course to the nasal swabs. It's like these new pins are like gold. It's like everybody's looking for these pins, all the countries, and it's incredibly complicated for some reason to produce them. But luckily for Icelanders,
luckily for Icelanders, 6,000 were actually just found in the Landspítali hospital, like in a box or something.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, someone just found them. You know, the swabs, they go up your nose to test or whatever. But we've had a really severe difficulty getting swabs from anywhere, from the US, from the EU. Everywhere has sort of been like, swabs go to the highest bidder at this point. So this is really, really good because testing has slowed down in recent days because they don't even have tests.
Yeah.
So that really works. Now, in further good news, there were 20,000 swabs that were not produced, but Icelandic manufacturer Össur had. We just got an email update about that.
They were slightly different, these swabs. They had them for another purpose, but the health director, they tested them and they found out that they were usable. So it was incredibly good news. So we have all of a sudden, we went from 0 to 26,000.
So that's amazing.
Swabs. That's absolutely amazing for the Icelandic population, which is like 6 or 7% of the nation that we can test with just with this.
Basically set, I would say.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, also it's like incredible to see like the US, as slow as they were in the beginning, they are now testing like 60,000 per day, which is incredible numbers. Experts actually say that they should be testing 150,000 per day just to keep up with the virus. So it's like, it just gives you like the idea like how popular those tests and these swabs are right now. It's like, it's incredible demand for them.
Gold.
It's literally gold. Exactly.
Crazy.
This is kind of like everything we have for the day. All of these articles you can find at our homepage, grapevine.is.
We have one more piece of news. I forgot.
Yeah.
So there was the first Icelandic death from COVID-19 either 2 days ago or it was 2 days ago. Yeah.
Yeah, we covered this yesterday, of course.
Yes, but the husband of that elderly woman, he is now on a respirator due to COVID-19. He's in critical condition. So I think that's big news.
Yeah, this is.
It's really sad story.
It's an absolute tragedy, of course. Yeah. Your internet is acting up, Hannah.
Mine?
Hey, okay, it's good again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
My internet's so shitty.
Really?
Yeah, it's so slow.
My internet actually broke down because everybody is at home working in Iceland. And we only have one canal from Iceland to basically Europe. So all our information comes from this only canal, which means that if we're all at it at the same time, everything gets slower somehow. It was in the news also that like our obsessive internet usage is slowing everything.
It's a nightmare.
It's interesting.
I mean, what else do you have to do? I'm like very bored. It's very difficult to stay at home all day.
You go to the Palm Beach like me. I mean, just chill here. Why
I've been watching House. What have you been doing? Like, you have kids, so like, you have to entertain them.
Well, we're actually trying to make a paper also. What are you doing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, after work hours.
Oh, so you're not working, Hannah?
Yeah.
Good to know, actually.
Just hanging out. No. Well, yeah. So we'll see what happens. The new numbers are released in a few hours, right? No,
these are the numbers from today. They were released at 1:00. So we'll have new numbers, of course, tomorrow. But the thing is that not much have changed. There was a spike in numbers a few days ago. That's what I'm Am I boring you? There was a spike in numbers the other day, but we have kept the curve trajectory pretty well. Like the news says that we are actually. I was trying to explain this, of course, yesterday, but I did it in a poor way. That the COVID-19 is spreading much slower in Iceland than in most other countries in the Schengen region, and of course the Schengen region is basically the European countries. So it's not like Singapore or South Korea and Hong Kong or whatnot. So
well, I think it's interesting. There's been some debate online with people talking about that. I mean, Iceland in a way is quite well suited to something like this because there isn't that much public transportation use. Like there's no subways, there's no trains. People mainly walk or use cars. So like there's a lot less chance of transmission. than in other countries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it's definitely different. And Icelanders, like you can feel when you go outside in the street of Reykjavik right now, are taking this very seriously. Everybody is quarantining or working at home if they can. And it's like Icelanders are like thinking like kind of like a one mind or something. It's incredible to see how people are woke about this. We were talking to our intern Poppy Askan. She told us she went to the UK again this week. That like there were a lot of busy streets in the UK, and like she said it felt like a completely different atmosphere. So it's like I think it's obviously harder for bigger countries to have like this crowd. I don't know, like controlling the crowd somehow, which is incredibly complicated always.
Yeah.
But let's not have it too long. Do you want to add something to it, Hannah?
I have nothing else to say. Oh, I was supposed to give ideas of stuff you can do, right, in quarantine? My idea last time was Tiger King.
Tiger King, yes.
The Netflix show.
Watching. That's a fantastic show.
It is truly the best viewing experience I've had in years. What a wild ride.
I'm only on episode 2 or something, and it was like hilarious.
I started watching. So my new idea, if you need to watch something, I have been watching House, the medical TV show, because I'm not scared enough by the world. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think everyone should start a journal. I think that's a very good. I think a lot of people are getting to the point in their social distancing where it's starting to become mentally quite difficult. Because there's only so much. There's like a very big pressure upon people to be productive while they're home, or to like meditate or work out or like cook or do all this crap that's supposed to better yourself. But I think journaling is a good way to get through the feelings of sort of the loss of socialization. So that's what I would recommend for today.
Also, I don't like to like watch movies like Contagious or House or whatever, like when you're going through the real life of like a crisis like this. So I actually started reading Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula, the book.
Oh, so good, yeah.
Yeah, it's so fantastic. I read it before, but it's like I just forgot like how brilliant it is, and it takes it takes you completely out of the world somehow, and I would encourage people to like read some like I don't know fantasy or something completely different. It was very nice to just leave the reality completely.
Maybe I should read that. That's a great book. Yeah, I'd recommend Dracula.
Yeah, I haven't read Frankenstein though. I should
really? Mary Shelley?
Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, you should read that. That's a quick read. That'll take you a day. Very quick. You'll love it.
I don't have it at home, and I haven't found it in Icelandic though. So I kind of I need to buy it.
Hey, translators, go for it. Okay.
Yeah, it's there. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll be here again tomorrow, and just remember to
Are we doing this tomorrow?
No, wow. What day is today?
It's Friday.
It's Friday. It's on Monday then. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.